Hey guys, I want to walk you through my pedal board real quick. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what each pedal does and also walk you through the signal chain. So here's what the flow of my signal looks like. It goes from guitar into my tuner here. That thing tunes. It goes into here, which is a JHS pulp and peel compressor. I use my compressor always on. It adds just a little bit of grit and just a slight glassiness to the tone that I really like. From there, it goes into this looper down here. And I'm going to leave the looper, all my drives, I'm going to leave them on at all times. That way you can kind of see me turn them off and on physically, and you don't have to remember what is in what loop. But my gain stages, I have a bunch of gain stages here. I've got 4. And a lot of people will use their gain stages from low gain to high gain and stack them that way. I stack them the other way, and the reason is my last pedal in my chain, I really want it to shape everything that comes through it. So out of my compressor goes into the looper, then it goes into the East River Drive right here by EHX Pedals. It's just a TS clone. It's real great for big sounding huge leads for something like a Not Ashamed. From there it goes into an RC booster. RC Booster is just a super low gain, really great transparent drive. Then the Morning Glory, which is a great medium to low gain drive, really transparent, beautiful sounding overdrive. And then my last drive in my chain is my Timmy. And the reason I have the Timmy last is because I want it to affect everything as it goes through. So I run it last because of its really fantastic tone shaping abilities, and I also leave it always on. From there, we go into my delays. It starts off with this delay right here. This is the Nova delay. Really great, really versatile delay. From there, it goes into the DD20. And then from there, it comes out of the looper, and I have these 2 reverbs out of the looper. This is the Holy Grail Nano. Simple delay, does what it needs to do. And then from there, it goes into the Arena Verb and then out into the amp. So here's kind of practically what everything does. I'm going to turn off all my drives. This is what is always on at all times. I always have the Timmy on, and I always have my compressor on, and this is the cleanest tone I have. So that's my bass tone, and I have my Timmy last, like I said, because of its tone shaping abilities. It takes other pedals really well. It reacts a lot like an amp would, and so I just love having it last there to kind of make everything sound exactly the way I want it to sound. So now from there, I've got Gain Stage 2, and Gain Stage 2 is going to be either the Morning Glory or the RC Booster, and it's going to depend on what the song is calling for. So here's what tone number 2 is going to sound like with the Morning Glory. Here it is on my neck pickup. Just adds a little bit of flavor, a little bit of depth. Here it is on my bridge. This to me is a really great setting for something like Only King Forever if you're playing rhythm. Gets into the verse, you can put it up into the neck pickup and kind of if I'm using the RC booster, this is kind of what that sounds like. It's literally just a different flavor depending on what song I'm looking for. As you see, the RC booster is just a little bit more gritty, and the Morning Glory just makes it a little more smooth. So depending on what song we're doing, I'm going to choose between those 2 as gain stage number 2. And then finally, I've got the East River Drive, and I'll use that purely for big, huge leads. Like if I'm playing lead on Not Ashamed, here's what it would sound like without it. It's just not quite enough, so if we add that in there, just adds that extra bit of grit. Makes it big and huge. So that's kind of what my gain stages look like. From there, we can go into loop number 1 right here, or number 5 technically, and that is my my Nova delay up here. And that's just a nice, I generally have it set as a quarter note right there. The great thing about the Nova delay is it's so versatile. It can do anything you want, from super clean digital delay to super gritty tape sounding nastiness. And it's got a ton of presets. I think it comes with up to 10, and you can change those. This one right now is a quarter note. This is what my dotted eighth would sound like. parts of the Nova delays. You can stack your delays. So this is a dotted eighth and a quarter note stacked. And then I've got a couple other settings. This one here is a huge feedback level. So if you're doing something big and washy, and you just want it to kind of wash it out. And then my last setting here, this is actually one I made for forever. It's just a really low reverb that's kind of warm. It's just barely there, just enough to kind of add a little wash. So I'll put it back to my main setting there. From there, we go into the DD20. Right now I have it set up as a dotted eighth. And I'll use these two in conjunction when I want to turn a dotted eighth on and off. And another way that I'll use the DD20 is I'll use it for a big, huge wash. So this is a low mix, high feedback type setting. It just keeps going and going, and those are really great for swells. Just kind of keeps that sound going and carries it out. Really sounds and sits really nice in the mix. Next, we go into the Holy Grail Nano. This is kind of a cheap little pedal, but it does exactly what I need it to. Got it in a trade, so I can't really go wrong with it. I use it kind of as an always-on type verb. I don't leave it always on, but in settings where I need it, that's what it's for. See, it just adds just a little bit to it and really lushes up the sound. So I'll use it for something like Closer, the Bayside version of Closer if I'm playing lead. It just adds a little special bit to it there. Next reverb I have here is the Arena Verb. This is a really versatile reverb. Right now, I literally use it for one thing, and that is for this tone print setting. You can actually create your own tones out of it, and I've created just a big, huge reverb that I'll use for swells, and I'll use for different parts. It's got a little bit of chorus in it. It's got a little bit of octave up and down in it. It just has a really nice tail. So I'll use those for swells all day long. So I'll use these two together. This is actually what I'll use for Forever. So you can actually stack them together, and this is what the intro of Forever sounds like. I've started really using delay almost instead of, or started using reverb instead of delay at this point. Most of my stuff I'm getting from my reverb pedal. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully this gets you excited about building your own pedal board.